as a 2016 graduate for Entrepreneurship Development at the Asian Institute of Management, Mr. Ruel T. Amparo has a very, very long way to go. Again, in his presentation, Financing Small Farmers in the Fourth Industrial Revolution, let us welcome Mr. Ruel T. Amparo. Hello, Ruel.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon po to everyone. Can I start na po ba? Can I share my screen? I'll start.
Yes, sir. Please share your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Is my screen clear? Okay, so can I start?
Go ahead po.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Ruel from Cropital, and thank you so much for inviting me. And maraming salamat po for, actually, there are a lot of familiar names in this group, and it's really nice to see you again. And I'd like to mention lang PhilRice and definitely our ERI partners who are also here, and thank you so much for supporting us. Siguro quick story muna before I proceed with who we are and what we do, and our somehow relation then with the Fourth Industrial Revolution. How are we actually doing some technologies that might be pasok po dun sa tinatawag nating FIRE. So actually, nung na-mention naman po, I was a bit young when I started Cropital, and one of my first mentor was actually from PhilRice, si Dr. Liza Borday po. So during the time na I message, I believe, around 40 people via email, na randomly nakita ko lang po yung emails ng mga experts na I need kasi help in starting Cropital. Si Dr. Borday was actually one of the 3 people who responded na, sige, puntahan mo ko to actually, so I can help you out. Then during that time, quite interestingly also, hindi ko talaga makakalimutan yung pumunta po ako ng PhilRice sa Nueva Ecija, and napagkamalan din po akong nag-a-apply ng internship dun po sa kanila. But anyway, long story short, we're really happy that we sparked that relationship, and through that very instance, it opened a lot of opportunities for us, and we've also are able to create and establish partnerships even with ERI. And right now, we are working then with a number of government agencies in pushing and pursuing our mission. So just to go back, again, I am from Cropital, and we are Philippines' largest crowd lending platform for farmers. So this is a bit new for most people, yung crowd lending. But bakit ba namin naisipan yung crowd lending? Basically, a lot of us are very much informed about the struggles of our smallholder farmers. And in the Philippines, yun nga po, given that we are experiencing a lot of typhoons, prices fluctuation, it's hindi na siya hindi na surprising to know na nasa $2 per day yung kinikita ng average farmers natin. And something very interesting din is that farming po kasi is a business, and every business needs capital to get started. In the case of the farmers, you need the seeds, the fertilizer, and the land preparation. And given the low income, we cannot really expect then savings from them. So most of the farmers, especially the smaller ones, end up depending on credit or utang. Unfortunately, given their standing, it's quite harder for some of our small farmers to access the formal, cheaper, affordable loans. They end up getting it from the more convenient but quite pricey informal lenders that could be as high as 20% per month. So this is where Cropital is coming from. So basically, we have started a crowd lending platform. So as you can see here on your screen, this is yung tsura po ng website or platform namin. It allows anyone to help finance farmers or support farmers through crowd lending. So yung mga farmers po na previously walang access sa financing, now through Cropital, they can access loans from anyone. And aside from that, Cropital also help farmers increase income. So we try to leverage on the financing that is already in place with our generous lender supporters by pushing on other support such as input supplies, agricultural technologies and trainings, insurances, and technical partners. So to date, actually we've reached already more than 1,500 smallholder farmers, rice farmers in particular, and we've helped them somehow save mula dun sa mas mataas nilang interest before to a way lower interest rate that they are getting it now. And we've expanded somehow yung support through the indirect beneficiaries like families and laborers as well. So for us, it's really important yung stories talaga directly from the ground. One of the farmers shared to us that prior to Cropital coming into their community in Bubulong, Munti, in San Ildefonso, Bulacan, he mentioned that he was able to actually get lang yung loans from a 10% interest lender. So, ang ginagawa niya is nagtitipid siya on how much yung ibaborrow on that end. And technically, ang nagsasacrifice is how much fertilizer yung gagamitin, yung quality of inputs na gagamitin, and ending up with not so optimal harvest. And through the financing support and other technical support that we were able to pull in together, he mentioned that after the program, he was able to double yung kanyang income. And this is the story that we want to replicate kasi we want very concrete development and changes po pagdating dun sa mga farmers natin. So, how does it work? So, in the crowd lending platform, yung mga lenders natin, these are individual. And yung most of the lenders that we have been getting until today are yung mission is one of the main driver kung bakit sila nag-lend sa platform. But aside from the mission of supporting the farmers, the lender also get around 3.5% of interest of net interest return kapag nakapagbayad na po yung farmer in one season, which is, as we know, around 4 to 6 months, depending on which point tayo nag-finance ng farmer. And on the side of the farmer naman, yung value that we are able to provide is access dun sa higher quality seeds and inputs, processing of their insurances, and receiving technical support. So again, PhilRice has been a really supportive partner to Cropital since 2016. And yun po, we don't claim expertise pagdating sa technology. We really, on our end, try our best to make sure that there will be efficient channels so that our farmers are able to access the right experts. So, quite recently also, very interestingly, with the boom of e-commerce as well, Cropital was able to establish na din our Cropital store. Okay, so what is this Cropital store? So, before kasi, yung farmer groups natin, we connect them directly to institutional buyers. Pero palay selling kasi for the past 2 to 3 years have been medyo difficult given nga na medyo naging mas mahal yung or rather mas naging mas mababa yung bentahan ng palay. The higher value now is the bigas or yung tinatawag natin na yung mismong nasa consumer market na. So what we did during the pandemic, we were able to launch the Cropital store that enabled the groups to actually transact directly. So nakakabili na tayo directly ng bigas from the group. So this is a community-powered store in a way that farmers act as producers, particularly the farmer groups, lalo na yung mga may milling capacity na nabigyan ng government, ganyan, or they are capable of doing. And yung ating lenders, the ones actually funding them, are now turning to become resellers. So we've made the store in such a way that lenders can earn by doing affiliate marketing. So they can earn up to a certain percentage of the sale that they are able to make. And we are also quite happy with the outcome of corporate partnership. Kasi we know that in the Philippines, HR in particular, we use the rice allowance as a way of extending support dun sa ating mga employee, ganyan. And we are, in a way, able to lock HR partnerships so that yung rice allowance, at least when their members receive it, they receive a link na you might want to use your rice allowance in buying directly from the local farmers. So this has enabled us to actually grow the store in a very short span of time. Okay, but again, another initiative naman. So, rather technology. So, behind everything that we are doing, the lending, the selling of the produce of the farmers, this Cropital Value Chain Finance Platform, or VCF, is our back end. This enables us to do everything in one platform, or this is a system. I'll discuss more about it later on, and I can actually link yung briefly a bit of the discussions about yung sa RCM, ganyan, and also other technologies and tools. So, what is VCF? Basically, VCF is our loan management platform that also acts, this is supported by DOST TAPI, or have been funded by DOST TAPI. But this also acts as our central farmer database, wherein all the data that we collect in the whole life cycle of the loan of the farmer goes into this system. What makes it very powerful is the analytics capability. With all the data available from every farmer, we are able to create and look at this data and generate reports on productivity, and more importantly, as a financing organization, develop it into credit scores and into risk models that would help us reduce our risk in financing farmers, but at the same time, find the vulnerability points. How can we help them if we cannot finance them yet? So basically, it looks like this. I'll share more about it later on, because I believe this that financing organizations have a very, very special role in this, what we call fourth industrial revolution, in enabling our farmers adapt technologies that are already existing. So the team behind Cropital, so basically we are a group of young individuals with background in agriculture, financing, fundraising, and banking technology. And we are also backed and supported by our dear advisors that with background in agribusinesses and also in NGO, particularly in farmer resiliency. And I've been supported by two governments, the Philippines, of course, through DOST, and of course, the Dubai also through the Expo Live program. So just to continue, I want to focus on one technology, which is the Cropital Value Chain Financing Platform. So what I like about this platform is that it enables us as a lending institution to reduce our risk. It enables us to support farmers by identifying vulnerability points and allow us to actually do something about it. And of course, do something with the support of the groups that have the expertise to do it. So what is this value chain financing platform? So the VCF is a project supported by DOST, which we built, which has four particular functions. It enables us to collect data, particularly yung mga people that collects data from us in different loan cycles, from our main office, yung field officer, the farmer leaders have account in the VCF platform, and even our partners, which I will show later. Then this system helps us store this farmer data all together. And this also helps us automate the processing of this farmer data. And at the end of it, be able to analyze what this data is about, and particularly using it for credit risk and in looking into productivity levels. So, number one, collect. So, here you can see yung different actors in our organization that collect data from the farmer. So why do we collect data? Maybe later I'll discuss. But basically, all these people have accounts in this platform. The community managers, the ones talking and engaging with our farmer groups. The farmer leaders have accounts in this platform. Our main office and even our agri-store partners, they also have access to this. And next is store. So what data ba are we storing and how are we able to store it? So basically, for those who have been with us na before, credit history is already there. So we have credit data of a farmer. But for those new applications, basically we are able to collect data using the application form, and we also have due diligence process, which is done by almost all financing organization, which is basically through this data collection points, we are able to record crop profile, finance profile, social, and farm profile of a specific farmer. And we also match them with external data sets. So what are these external data sets? Basically, weather forecast, price trend. So these are the data that are made available through the BAS or the PSA. Or yung mga reports ni PhilRice actually. Yung mga trends ng price ng inputs like yung sa mga fertilizer, ganyan. Those things we use also. Then, upon disbursement or releasing of the money or the loan, through our agri-inputs partner, for those na agri-inputs ang way of receiving it, we are able to record also ano bang inputs yung ginamit or gagamitin ni farmer in this season. And throughout the mid-season, we do calls kasi sa farmers or check-ins to know na parang yun, nakatanim ba talaga sila, may sakit ba. So at any point in time, we could easily find a way to support them and help them mitigate yung risk that are being imposed. And we also use external data sets like yung mga weather updates from Pag-asa, and sometimes we also do satellite images, pero more of medyo manual namin siya ginagamit. But basically, important kasi sa amin tong check-ins, yung evaluation, yung weather, kasi we have lenders that we report to. So we need to report, or ano bang nangyayari dun sa sinuport ko na farmer. So we report kapag may bagyong dadating or kapag may, let's say, nagkaroon siya ng issue that could actually affect yung repayment behavior niya. And ultimately, we also connect them with the market, and every time na yun, kapag magbabayad na, we try to collect as much data also about dun sa harvest nila and how was it. And syempre, we collect kung nagbayad ba sila. We collect that data kung nakabayad ba sila, na late, or siya lang ba yung binayad, or anong excuse yung ginamit this time. But basically, this data are being collected into one system, and we are able to utilize this data in various ways. Right now, we are still at the very early stage in the sense na 2019, we received the grant, but we are already using the data very, very heavily on the credit risk side of things. So the next one using the VCF is processing of data. So in our case, we are able to just pull in the data that we need from that VCF platform to our crowdfunding platform at ease. So medyo madaling mag-migrate lang, ganyan. Then, okay, nandito na sila sa platform natin. And I believe it would be the same if the system is being used by someone else who process loan for other organizations. Then, next naman is we are using the data to process insurance. So one thing about data is that same set naman kasi yung data na hinahanap sa loan, sa insurance, and even later on yung sa RCM actually. So what we did is from the VCF platform, we also built an insurance processing platform. Now this insurance platform is also used by other cooperatives, but basically we pull in the data, put it here, and automate forms na kailangan ni PCIC para hindi na kami magsusulat or mas mabilis na. It's the same data basically about the lot, about the harvest, the sowing date, so on and so forth. And right now, we are in the process of working with ERI and PhilRice, of course, in integrating na yung sa fertilizer recommendation. But again, given the pandemic, nagkaroon lang po ng adjustment. But thank you so much pa rin, Dr. Detoon, for inviting me in this particular talk. But basically, our mindset kasi is, those data are already being collected and are being gathered for this and this purpose. Why not gather it also for the same one and using the same parang single point of collection na lang? So through ERI, through partnership with ERI, this is the next step that we are looking into, how we could utilize the VCF and how we could push further integration and ease of use of the various technologies that are already existing. And of course, on the side of analyze, basically using machine learning and analyzing the data so we could create categorization or risk profiling. So we could tag kung high risk, low risk, and we could use it in identifying loan limits on the side ng mga farmers natin. And definitely every season we do model calibration kasi we know, yun nga po, data actually tells us kung paano natin gagawin yung risk categorization and so on. And medyo last na. But basically, since we are able to track the different performances of their lots season per season, dahil kailangan po sa crop insurance laging isubmit, and it's also part of the forms, then we believe it's quite easy if we work together lang or put the data in together lang, as long as it's properly put in place, to understand the trends given this particular data sets that we are already collecting. And throughout, we can generate different yun nga, rankings ba, sino ba yung pinakamagagaling nating farmers, sino ba yung pinaka naglalag, sino ba yung pinakamagagaling na groups, and so on and so forth. And learn from that and try to adapt it. So, in an essence, basically, we see financing institutions, at least given the tools that are made available today, as enablers also of in enabling yung tinatawag na agricultural value chain. Kasi since I believe yung mga financing kasi kami yung pinakatutok sa farmers or one of the pinakatutok. Kasi kapag hindi kumita yung mga farmers, hindi mababayaran. And I think yun yung signal lagi eh. Especially kapag merong areas na parang, clustered yung default. It's a signal na there's a problem that must be addressed. Not necessarily it's a signal na masasama yung ugali ng tao dito. Hindi nagbabayad yung mga tao dyan. I think we need to shift yung mindset na looking at those defaults or delinquencies na tinatawag natin as really triggers na parang there's something wrong here that we need to address, and look at those as clues for us to identify what proper intervention, what proper technology can we actually apply and adapt so that the group will be able to recover and become more resilient. So actually, that's it po for my presentation, and thank you so much again for your time in listening, and I'm pretty open naman po for questions in the forum. Okay. Yun lang po. Thank you so much.
Thank you well for this very inspiring and amazing vision of social entrepreneurship. Indeed, our talks